to Carson the whole time we're here because it's very rare that he comes to see us in real life. So since we have you here, we're going to put you to work, and we are going to make a pizza with Randy in the kitchen. Let's go. All right, chef, you did pizzas for many, many years.
Yes.
So I want to ask you what the difference is between making your pizza at home and making the pizza at the restaurant.
Well, the tools are better at the restaurant. You get the wood ovens, they burn at like 900 degrees, but it doesn't mean you can't make a beautiful pizza at home.
Yeah, because you still make good pizzas.
You make good pizzas at home.
Yeah.
There's three basic things you need to have. You need to have a good dough, you need to have a great sauce, and you need to have some good cheese.
Okay.
And from there,
you're good.
You can do anything almost.
Are you wondering why this guy's standing beside you?
Yeah, it's true.
Because we thought, listen, Carson, you have the beautiful wood-fired oven.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about it on the show before.
Spent thousands on it. Yeah,
Thousands on it, so you use it.
No. So I had to force myself to get out there and do it. And
It's
I
hard
don't have
work.
time. My schedule's tight. So I'm like, so everything you're doing, I'm doing the opposite for the rest of the people.
Okay.
Like me.
But that's good. We have two ways of making it. So there's chef-made, you know, restaurant owner.
Well, now you're pushing me up.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, no pressure.
This better work out.
And then we
The other
have
guy.
the home cook with the wood-fired oven or whatever you might be using at home. Maybe it's a barbecue. So we're going to show both ways of doing it because you do it very differently. Pizza night is a regular thing at your house, though, right, Cars?
Yes, it's a regular
'Cause
thing.
you've
Usually
made
late
it.
night, got the munchies. There might be a bottle of wine that you have to finish off. And you're like,
That's
okay, let's grab some food and let's go.
I want to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you start? Let's talk about the dough.
So for me, I like a round dough because we're doing a round pizza. So when you want a round pizza, you start with a round dough. Okay. And you want a rim, so you would never use a rolling pin. You have to use your fingers, 3 fingers each hand. And what you're going to do is just go down the middle of the dough. But you see that rim starting to happen already?
Yeah.
And now we're just going to go on the outside. And as you work this, you can pick it up and you can throw it around. But in the beginning, there's really no need for it. What you want to do is make it a little bit larger, and then we only want to stretch about an inch here. We don't want to stretch the middle, and we don't want to stretch the edge.
Okay.
And it's just this motion here, the fingers going out.
This looks very, like, is this actually a proper technique, or is this Randy being Randy?
Oh, no, this is like a proper technique.
Because it looks like proper technique.
No, this
I
is a lot of like YouTube videos and, you know, like,
This is how the pros
it's done,
do it.
right? But there you go, like, so you can see it's even.
Oh,
it's
that
like,
looks good.
you know, it's pretty damn
You know,
perfect.
if you look,
it's
pretty perfect. So,
I'm just saying.
Cars.
Yeah.
You've got your dough. What's
I
your...
open the bag. The dough always sticks to the bag, and I've learned that's not a bad thing. That's normal.
That's
you scrape
fine.
all the dough out of the bag. It is sticky. It is stretchy. I have washed my hands first. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to get as much of the dough out of the bag as possible. Yeah, that's about right.
That'll do it.
I make a ball.
Yeah.
I set the ball in the middle of my pan.
Yeah.
I walk away for half an hour to get a drink. I let it warm to room temperature.
Okay.
When it
That's
gets
a good
there,
one. That's a
then
good one.
I start spreading it out. And I kind of do
Got
it like,
it.
you know, Play-Doh. A silly plate of dough, and I just keep stretching. I just keep stretching it to activate the glutens.
Yes.
Then I throw it into my pan.
Nice.
And it doesn't look perfect, people. It doesn't look like Randy's. But my logic is, I'm going to bury this in sauce and cheese. And nobody's going to be any of the wiser.
Carson,
Okay.
it does look round.
It is round.
At the moment, it is round. This is good. Absolutely.
That's something.
Letting it rise a little bit is the key for me because I want some crunchy bits. I want some soft bits. And even if I tear it, I will just actually stretch it back in and cover the holes. Because nobody's going to see this, people. It's under the sauce. Flatten it out. Doesn't look as pretty, but I tell you, the taste.
You'll get the same results or different results, but they'll both be delicious. I want to know, is there a difference at all in the dough that you're using? Because yours does look different. You've got an added something there, Chef.
Oh, I've got some semolina on this because I like the way it stretches out and I like the extra crispiness.
Okay, you get a little crunchy
And
crunch.
a little crunchy
And
crunch.
mine costs $5.
Got it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Out of the frozen
There we
section,
go.
the frozen
Absolutely.
food section, and you're just making
I'm just
a little
patching the
crack.
holes.
Beautiful.
See, this is fun, and kids can do this, and there's no stress because it's not that.
Right.
It's this, and there's no expectations.
I love it. It's like two completely different doughs together. You cook the way I do. Very nice. Okay, so what are you going to do next? Is there a step that you're going to take before we are going to put anything on the pizza?
So the one thing you do want to make sure is you do have something underneath because you do need to get a paletta underneath.
Okay.
And you don't want it sticking, right? So you can see I've got some semolina under there, and you want to just give it one final kind of stretch it out like this. But other than that, we are ready for toppings. What about you, Carson?
I use the cheapest pan possible, and I cook it in the pan, and it has never failed me yet. That's what we're going with. I'm sticking with it. Yeah.
All right. Well, these two are going to keep working on these pizzas throughout the whole show, so stay tuned to see how they turn out. I have faith in both of them. Let's go to break. More coming up. They're going to be awesome. Let's check in on something a little less healthy than these superfood salads. It's Carson and Randy's Pizzas. Thanks, Bill. Enjoy. The dough is done. Now it is time for the sauce. Okay, the secret's in the sauce, you say, Chef.
Secret's in the sauce. Keep it simple. Buy the most expensive tomatoes you can possibly find. Whole tomatoes, not diced, not pureed. Whole tomatoes.
Okay.
Get them a little bit of garlic, some salt, some basil, some oregano, and then buzz it.
You keep it real pure, your
Keep
pizzas?
it real pure, and it's uncooked. Don't use a pasta sauce for a pizza. Difference. So it's a raw sauce.
Carson, what do you use?
I open the jar, shake it first, give it a little, and then if I get really fancy, I take some basil, I put it in the jar.
Oh no, look at
I
this.
stir it
Look at this
in.
move, ladies and gentlemen.
Now it's custom sauce. Can't buy that on the shelf, let me tell you.
That is
That was
tight.
so custom.
And then I go straight onto the pizza with it.
See?
Okay.
Yeah, going
All
right in.
But that
So you
looks
put
good.
some
That's an
basil in
uncooked
the
sauce. That's gorgeous.
Well, I put some basil in the sauce.
I
'cause,
love
you know.
it. All right, Chef, what are you doing now?
Fresh mozzarella. So we have an 8-ounce ball of pizza or dough.
Yeah.
We have 4 ounces of sauce and we do 4 ounces of cheese. It's in the ratios because you do not want to suffocate the dough. The dough's like there and it's pillowy and it's soft. You don't want to like smash it and suffocate it because that all those little bubbles are going to come up and that's
Let
where you're
it
going to get your
breathe.
crispiness. Yeah. So don't overload it with cheese. Even though we all love cheese, you got to have
Yeah.
a little bit of restraint here.
I'm like hypnotized by the cheese right now. Okay, Carson, what do you do for cheese?
Okay, so I will invest in cheese. This is the
Yes.
one thing that I actually will do myself. So I buy the balls
Yes.
and I actually grate them. Okay?
Yes, of mozzarella?
Yeah, a mozzarella. Now, the one thing that I learned, and this is an online hack that I am a huge fan of, I'm just going to set that over here, is put it on a paper towel, put the paper towel over top of the mozzarella, give it a roll.
You roll the cheese.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll find that moisture
Nobody
actually
rolls
comes.
the dough,
I
but you
know,
roll
this is the
roll
first for me.
cheese. Moisture comes out into the paper towel. The paper towel actually feels damp. If you take the moisture out of your mozzarella, it tastes so much better. So roll the cheese, people. Sounds weird, but it works.
You better roll that cheese.
Right?
I'm excited
All
to try
right,
this.
Chef, what are you doing now?
Okay, so just really simple. We're going to go classic. I mean, every pizza should be grated on a margarita. So let's just see cheese sauce, dough, and a little bit of basil, and then we finish it off with a sprinkle of olive oil. And that is
beautiful.
it for now.
Okay, and that's how you're going to keep it. And maybe afterwards we'll see what happens when we go up there to put them on the barbecue. What are you going to put on yours now, Carson?
So I'm going classic. I'm going pepperoni and mozzarella, keeping it simple. I don't like to put fresh ingredients on before I bake it, because if I forget about it, they always burn. So I never do that. But when I do my pepperoni, I actually do it a little different. So I actually make pizza slices. So I actually do a pattern with my pepperoni, and I leave the gaps in between so that when you cut the pizza, you're not cutting open the pepperonis, right? Nobody argues. I make
so
sure I
your
leave the
pizza
lines.
thing does not go through a pepperoni because it's planned.
Yes,
The
exactly.
cutter does not go
so I
through
have my gaps.
pepperoni.
I know exactly where I'm going to cut it open. And I like to use 2 or 3 different kinds of pepperoni.
Yeah.
I find the skinnier the pepperoni, the better, because it releases less grease onto the pizza. So it actually crisps up a little bit better. Yeah. So the thin sliced pepperoni,
That's the stuff
I like
there.
to put that on there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, when you
Amazing.
do them right on top, you're a wild man.
Exactly.
He doesn't follow any of the rules, and then all of a sudden he does this like a scientist.
Right? Well, no,
Like,
'cause this
everything else is whatever. Now it's like, but no, the pepperoni must be placed
But
properly.
let's be honest, nobody's going to see the crust.
Yeah.
People are going to see the toppings. That's all they're going to remember. Go, wow, look at that pizza. What? Wow, look at that pizza.
I'm intrigued with the pepperoni stuff. I like this
Talk it
idea.
up because we will be having a taste test later, so you can trash talk it up. So, okay, when you heated oil, he finished his with some olive oil. Are you going to?
So again, I'm not putting any fresh ingredients like tomato,
got it.
basil, and that stuff. I'm putting the olive oil on last, and I made some fancy chili oil. My secret ingredient, got a little spice, got a little pizzazz that he can't compete with.
Okay, got it. We're going to check back with you two in a bit, but for now, it's time for a break. Let the pizza wars continue. it's time to cook the pizzas. So Chef Randy and Carson have, of course, been toiling over these pizzas for the whole show. They both come about it very differently. And now it's time to do the test and see how you bake them, how you cook them. How would you do this if you were doing this at home?
So even though we have two totally different styles of pizza, we should cook all pizzas the same way, and that's from the bottom up. You want to get the bottom crispy. You cook it from the top, you're going to make everything soggy, and the bottoms will be soggy. It's no good. So I've got a pizza stone in the barbecue. It's been on for half an hour, charging up and getting hot to like 700 degrees. So I'm just going to slide it in there.
Okay, now what does that pizza stone actually do?
Okay, Tracy, think of it as a cast iron pan searing a steak. It holds the heat and it sears it and makes a crust on the crispiness of the crust. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes it, but it makes a crust.
It's going to hold that heat and then it's going to cook the pizza up through the bottom. And so you're going to see the sauce kind of bubbling. That's not from the heat inside the barbecue, that's from the heat of the stone.
Okay.
So if you're cooking multiples, wait at least 5 to 10 minutes in between pizzas to let it get hot again.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, I see that you just brought your pizza.
I'm out.
Off of the barbecue. Now, what did you do? I heard you mention something about putting some water down in the pan.
Yeah, so like I said, this is the cheapest, least expensive pan I could find, and I've used it over and over again. I never put oil on it. I know it sounds odd, but I put a little water in the bottom. So when I put the dough on top, the water steams, and it actually releases it. And it worked. The one time I tried putting the pizza directly on the grill, it kind of sagged down between the bars. Kind of looked like the time I tried on a Speedo. Did not work out, so I always use the pan. Now, I don't have a stone. I had when I dropped it. They break pretty easily.
Yes, they do.
So, cheap pan for the win.
Okay, well, listen, they both look beautiful. I mean, two very differently constructed pizzas. I think that you both want to do a little bit extra now. Because you said you're not going to do anything fresh until you take it off of the heat. What are you going to do to yours?
So as I said, I'm going to just do a light drizzle of olive oil. If I wanted to add basil or any fresh tomatoes, this is the time I would do it.
Right.
But I like the little bit of a spice on there, so I'm going to give some heat. Now this is, you can customize it. You can add a little more, a little bit less. I don't want it too greasy, so just a little drizzle.
Okay, very nice. And Chef, how are you going to finish yours off?
Listen, I do feel like this is a perfect pizza, but in my pizza days, this was my favorite pie. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take a little bit of arugula on top of the margarita, just to give it a little bit of peppery and a little bit of spice.
Love that.
And then we are going to layer in some prosciutto. So we have like paper thin prosciutto here, and that's just going to kind of like drizzle on top of each slice.
So each slice gets its own prosciutto.
Gets its own prosciutto.
I know you said that you were a purist, so I didn't know that you were going to top it off. Is this because you started getting nervous with Carson's
1,000%. The pepperoni stack was in that for sure. Absolutely.
They both look beautiful. So good.
You'll notice that my pepperoni, there's no cut pieces of pepperoni because I did my little lines. It's all perfectly organized. Nobody has to fight over the cut piece. Unfortunately, as the chef, I don't get to steal one because it'll be noticeable.
It all made sense to me as soon as I saw it. I'm like, ooh, yes, every piece got the same amount of pepperoni. So listen, they're mouth-watering, beautiful-looking pizzas, but really, we would need somebody to come in and taste them to see if there is like a clear winner here.
But who?
I don't know. Maybe Leanne?
Oh, I think she dressed for the occasion. There
you go. She's the pizza queen, and she's going to let you know what these pizzas take. You and
We've got an award to crown the winner. Yes.
Okay,
perfect.
Okay.
All right. Which one are we
Why
starting
don't you serve her up first, Cars?
Okay. So Leanne, this is late night pepperoni munchy pizza, a little spiced oil on top. This is,
right off the bat, no pepperoni's cut in half. No sacrifice.
There's got to be bonus points for that.
So this is like
cheese pull.
Hometown cheesy pull.
Okay.
You should be getting lots of flavor, a little bit of zing in there.
Yep. We'll keep talking and you keep chewing. I mean, if you remember back to what Carson did, he bought the dough from the store.
We're going for a second round, people.
It's a good sign. I was trying to film for you, but okay.
I tried the crust.
Okay. I can take that.
All right.
Okay.
So that was Carson's way of doing the pizza. Mozzarella cheese, pepperonis placed in a very systematic way.
Right.
Okay, now let's go for one of Randy's.
And now it's very true. Listen, you're going to get a bit of a flop, but that's a proper pinch. You see, she pinched it, and then she's going to, and what I would normally do is I'd actually fold it right over.
Yeah, baby.
I feel underdressed for how fancy this pizza is.
Oh, no, that's the pull. There, she's got it.
Do it.
She's got it now.
Going in.
That's right,
Might
pizza
have
queen.
another one here. Hold on.
That's
Let's see.
right,
Oh,
pizza
no.
queen.
Running. It's like she's having the
Are
moment.
these there paper towel? No, whatever. We don't need paper towel.
Oh, my Lord. Look
We
at
don't need paper towel. Okay, we're out of time. You got to tell me who the winner is.
It's like picking my favorite child. Prosciutto. I gotta go for the prosciutto.
Prosciutto wins!
Yes, of course. Yeah.
You must be so honored. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There we go.
I'd like to thank everyone involved.
We'll do it in a French way, sort of on a
That's beautiful.
jaunty
There
tilt.
you go.
Listen, that was amazing, and it just goes to show you, make your pizza the way you want to make it, but listen to their tips, because they're very good tips.